Just when I thought the woman and women's draw couldn't get any more hectic, here comes Lulu Sun, Emma Navarro, and Madison Keys' leg. Hey, my name is Christian Bassnight and welcome to Christian's Court, where I cover tennis from all angles. Once again, y'all know the drill. If you have not yet subscribed, please make sure you subscribe and click that notification bell so you're notified whenever I post new content, and also help me reach my goal of making 15,000 subscribers. I'm low-key, sort of, kind of almost there, so thank y'all for the support, but about 900 more to go, so let's keep it pushing. Now, after Iga Swiatek was bounced in the third round at Wimbledon yesterday, many started saying that Coco Gauff was the clear favorite to hoist the Venus Rosewater dish on Saturday. The American had breezed through to the second week, only dropping 10 games against her first three opponents, but today she dropped 12, falling to compatriot and 19th seed Emma Navarro 6-4, 6-3. This loss was very surprising to me, I'm not going to lie. I knew Navarro would give Coco a test, especially with how she dismantled Naomi Osaka in the second round was with the score of 6-4, 6-1. But I still expected the second seed Gauff to come out on top because she has a more steady and consistent game than Osaka, and I felt that she could better handle the Navarro craftiness. And also, Coco won their previous match between her and Emma at Auckland in the semifinals earlier in this year, winning that one pretty convincingly 6-3, 6-1. But Emma, like she said in her press conference, she's a completely different player now as opposed to then, and she showed that out there on court today. Gauff really had no answers for Navarro, who completely outplayed her, and I was utterly astonished by what I saw from the 23-year-old. Giving my match breakdown, Gauff got first blood. She broke Navarro first to go up 3-2, but Emma broke her back immediately, partly thanks to some sloppy serving and poor ground strokes from Gauff. Coco had an opening to break right back at 3-all, going up 15-40, but it's really not too much that Coco did wrong there. Yes, she made errors, but Navarro kind of forced them out of her. To be honest, watching this match back, I'm not mad at all with how Coco played in the opening set, and I don't feel like there was really much she could have done differently. When Emma broke her at 5-4 to win the first set, she practically hit every last point that she hit was practically a winner from her, Emma's racket, and I just couldn't believe it, y'all. She was playing out of her mind. I expected Coco to reset after losing the opening set and raise her level, while I expected Emma's level to dip a bit, but that's not at all what happened. Emma did not let her foot off of Coco's neck, and she served very well, drawing many return errors from the second seed. It all started unraveling for Coco when she got broken for the first time in that second set to go down 3-1. She started chirping at her team, gesturing for them to give her advice as forehand after forehand hit the net or sailed long. That lone break was all Navarro needed to close out the match, and Coco did have some very small opportunities to get back on serve in that final game, but she made 3 forehand errors on all 3 deuce points at 5-3 before netting yet another forehand to send Navarro through to her maiden major quarterfinal. I first have to give praise to Emma for playing an unbelievable match. This was the biggest match of her career, definitely, and she played perhaps the best match of her life. She's just ice cold too in the veins from the NCAA champion, and it's evident from her nonchalant match win reaction, and it was very reminiscent of Emma Raducanu, who also doesn't wear her emotions on her sleeve, and I think that can be a big asset for you out there, just as an opponent facing someone like that who doesn't give you much as far as emotions. And on the flip side, Coco gave Emma a lot in terms of showing a lot of emotions out there on court. And Navarro even said after the match herself that she noticed that Coco was very frustrated, and that fueled her even more. Now, talking about some things that Emma did well to really trouble Coco, I thought that she used great angles on her forehand especially, which has a lot of shape, and she's able to really get Coco out of position. Now, Coco, she's a great mover, but it's harder to move on the grass and defend on the grass. And I also thought that Navarro, she served well. Navarro does not have a big serve, but she served smartly here and really utilized that slice serve to the Gauff forehand, which of course we know is the weaker of the two ground strokes. That was her bread and butter serve for the American Navarro. Time and time after again, Coco just hit forehand air, whether it just be continuously in the net or long, and it was just kind of towering to see. And we hope that maybe she makes some adjustments and maybe slice and chip some back, but no, she kept trying to do the same thing and it just wasn't working. It must be very frustrating to play Navarro, aside from her just being even killed, because two, she's a very complete player and doesn't really have that any weaknesses at all really in her game, glaring weaknesses. It was crazy to see how she made Naomi Osaka kind of self-destruct in their second round match, and now Coco too, who is one of the most solid and mentally tough players out there on the tour. Now, talking about some issues that were evident from Gauff, of course I mentioned the forehand issues, but then two, she really just showed no variety. She did not really change things up there. She tried to ball bash and out hit Emma, and it wasn't working because, like Chrissy Everett said, Navarro was like a backboard out there. And not only did she handle Gauff's shots, but she returned them with interest. Like Iga Swiatek, Coco definitely tends to struggle more on the grass. It's the only slam where she has not progressed past the fourth round. And like I mentioned in my video yesterday, that's because she's not able to rely as much on her defensive skills and to get herself out of trouble. And that's why I think we saw her kind of redline and go after her shots, because if she did try to just make a lot of balls back in play, Navarro would eat them up. Coco also still cannot rely on her serve consistently to get her out of trouble and win free points here on the grass, which is going to be big for her if she wants to ultimately win this title. Coco, we know, has potential to really serve opponents off the court, but we haven't really seen it that much in her career yet. She still has a lot of work left to do on her serve. And her second serve, she did try to go for it more whenever her back was against the wall, but in those moments, she threw in a lot of inopportune double faults, and that's where Navarro was able to get some edges there. I also think it was definitely a mental thing from Coco, aside from her just totally mentally collapsing. Not totally mentally collapsing, but having that mental collapse midway through that second set. I think she came into this match knowing that she was the massive favorite to make the final. Not even, aside from Iga, her biggest, losing early, but Iga was all the way on the other side of the draw. But focusing on this bottom half, I think Madison Keys was her biggest threat and biggest obstacle, aside from Navarro, of course, of making the final. And Keys was out. So I think that also knowing that Arena is out, she didn't even play the tournament, this was a great opportunity for Coco to win Wimbledon. And it's still very early in her career, but this could have been her best chance at winning Wimbledon, the championships. Still, Emma Raducanu, of course, she's going to be the title favorite, which I'll get into a little bit later. But definitely this would be a heartbreaking loss for Coco, because if she doesn't win Wimbledon, like I said, she's only 20 years old. But if she does not win Wimbledon, this might be one of those years we look back on and be like, dang, that was her chance. Now, talking about that moment where Coco did lose her composure, she kept telling her team, tell me something. And I also thought she cussed a little bit, but that's aside from the point. But she was repeatedly telling her team to tell them something. And she was frustrated because apparently she wasn't getting the feedback that she was looking for. And really, Brad, he did the best he could, kind of. He told her to go more backhand with Emma and try to use more shape on her forehand, which is good advice considering how Gauff netted most of her forehands in this match. But it's really like putting a band-aid over a broken fish tank. Like, the main issue isn't resolved, which is Coco's shaky forehand technique. Coco's forehand, it looked great really in the first 3 rounds of the tournament, but whenever she faces a pressure opponent or whenever she's in pressure situations, it does tend to break down. We saw it earlier this year in the Australian Open semifinal against Aryna Sabalenka, where she was very close to winning the first set, but the forehand just broke down, and we saw it here today against Navarro. We're once again running into the same old issues with Coco, and if she doesn't truly fix that forehand, then she will continue to leave slams out on the table. Navarro will next face Jasmine Paolini, the 7th seed, in the quarterfinal. The Italian advanced after Madison Keys retired at 6-3, 6-7, 5-all, 15-all due to a heartbreaking leg injury. The match, which I dubbed the Battle of the Biracials, was very good, so it sucks that it had to end this way. Paolini started off the stronger of the two and really took advantage of Keys' errors, but Maddie found her range and she raced out to a 5-1 lead in the second set, holding 2 set points. Paolini clawed her way back to 5-all, but Keys showed incredible composure and mental fortitude despite letting that lead slip, saving a break point before closing out the set in a nail-biting tiebreaker. Keys continued to show tremendous grit in that third set, saving some more break points with some clutch play herself before ultimately going up a double break for a 5-2 lead in the third set. Down and out in that 5-2 game, Madison first showed signs of her left leg problem when she flexed it after missing an inside-out forehand mistake to succumb to the break. Keys called for the trainer soon after and looked worse as she continued to play on. She went off court for a medical timeout and returned with her left thigh strapped up to try and serve out the match at 5-4. Despite not being able to move at all, Keys made a valiant effort, winning 2 points before getting broken to tie us up at 5 apiece. Keys ultimately pulled the plug after Jasmine aced her to put the score at 5-all, 15-all. This is really gut-wrenching and sad for Madison. It was so sad to see her cry like that because she knew this was a great opportunity for her to really go all the way. She was a big favorite, of course, to win this match. She would have won the match, I believe, if she didn't have the injury. And now, of course, Coco is out. I think this would have been a great chance for her to go all the way. She had the most experience out of all the players remaining left in the draw. Madison, unfortunately, she's very injury prone and she has missed countless slam tournaments due to problems with her wrists, shoulders, neck, abdominal muscles, and now her leg. It's not the way that Paolini wants to do it, but still this is an amazing achievement for her in making her first Wimbledon quarterfinal. And it's incredible too that she had never won a match at SW19 before this year, which shows you once again how the 28-year-old has just been a late bloomer and she's blossomed into something great this season. That Navarro-Paolini match will be very intriguing because I think both of these two women have very similar game style. While Jasmine and Emma are both seeded, the other two women's quarterfinalists in this bottom half are not. Probably nobody had Lulu Sun making the quarterfinal in their bracket before the tournament, but the 23-year-old qualifier is into the Elite 8 after scoring an impressive 6-2, 5-7, 6-2 win over home country favorite Emma Raducanu. It's quite astonishing that Sun even made it this far, considering how she had to save a match point in her second round qualies match before knocking out the 8 seed Xinwen Zhang in the opening round, recovering from a set down, before doing the same thing in the second round against her fellow qualifier Lulia Starobdubtseva. In the third round, she saved multiple set points to keep Lin Zhu at bay before making her center court debut, of course knocking out the former US Open champion Raducanu. I really do need to apologize to Lulu Sun because I wasn't paying her much mind at all as she progressed through this tournament, and I thought that Emma, even with her wrist concerns, as she of course had to pull out of the mixed doubles citing stiffness in that wrist, I thought that she would prevail, but I was obviously very wrong. Sun outplayed the Brit from the very first point, and some people said that the spirit of Petra Kvitova possessed her, and that comparison really isn't too far off because Sun, she walloped 52 winners in the 2-hour 45-minute affair and just hit 44 unforced errors. Raducanu didn't play bad at all in this match, and if there's one thing she could have done differently is perhaps take more chances and be more aggressive, and I think she did do well to fight back and take this match to a third set after facing some trouble midway in the second set, and I thought that she would ultimately take control and win this match in 3, but Sun was just not letting up and she recovered well after dropping the second set. Lulu is currently at her career high of 123 in the world, but in becoming the 7th latest qualifier in the Open era to make the Wimbledon quarterfinals, she rises 70 spots to 53 in the live rankings. Lulu earned about $300,000 total in prize money throughout her career before this tournament, but by making the quarterfinals, she'll get $474K US dollars, the definition of a life-changing tournament. If she makes the Final Four, she'll net about $900,000, but she'll have to get by Croatian Donna Vekic first, who outlasted Paula Badosa in a rain-riddled 4th round affair on court 2, winning that one 6-2, 1-6, 6-4. This is Vekic's first Wimbledon quarterfinal and 3rd overall, and you can just see how much it means to her. On paper, Jasmine Paolini will be the favorite to make the final, as she's the only one to even make a slam semifinal, but literally any of these 4 ladies can take it with how well they've been playing. Now, transitioning to talk about the men's action, all the high-ranked guys came through their matches, so no real big surprises there. Jannik Sinner is into his 3rd consecutive Wimbledon quarterfinal with a 6-2, 6-4, 7-6 win over Ben Shelton. Ben Shelton, he will be disappointed that he wasn't able to grab a set, especially after he held multiple set points in that 3rd set, but I still think it's a great effort that he pushed Sinner like this, like he did, considering how he had played 3 5-set matches in the 3 rounds prior, and after winning his 5-setter over Denis Shapovalov yesterday, he went right back out on court to play played doubles, so definitely well-deserved rest for Ben Shelton after this tournament. Sinner now faces Daniil Medvedev, who got the walkover, being up 5-3 over Grigor Dimitrov in the opening set. At 3-2 in the first set, Dimitrov slipped and soon after received treatment for his knee. Like Keys, he just could not move afterwards and had to call it quits. Very sad moment for Grigor. He was playing great this tournament, and I actually picked him to beat Medvedev in this match. Can't say for sure that he would have done it, but it would have been a great match nonetheless, so hopefully he recovers in time for the summer hardcourt swing. Sinner, I think, would be the considerable favorite to beat Medvedev in this match, as he's won his last 5 matches over the Russian. Carlos Alcaraz joins them in the Elite 8 after weathering the Hugo Humbert storm on center court. He escaped the big serving French lefty in 4 sets with a score of 6-3, 6-4, 1-6, 7-5. This match was a point away from going 5, really, as Humbert had 3 break points up love 40 on Alcaraz's serve at 3-4 in the 4th set. But like he showed us in the round prior against Francis Tiafoe, Carlitos just hits that second gear whenever his back is against the wall. Can he get away with this again in his next match? I don't know, because now he plays a man who has beaten him twice in American Tommy Paul. Paul got a decisive straight sets win over veteran Spaniard Roberto Bautista Agut to reach his maiden Elite 8 appearance at SW19. This will be a battle of the Queen's Champs, as Carlitos won the year prior in 2023 and Tommy hoisted the big trophy this year. I think this one will go 5, and I definitely could see TP doing his big one to make the semifinals. Looking forward to day 8, Elena Rybakina opens play against 17th seed Anna Kalinskaya, followed by 2 intriguing men's matches. First, Taylor Fritz, who takes on Alexander Zverev, followed by Novak Djokovic and Holger Rune. On court 1, Arthur Feast faces 9th seed Alex de Minaur, and then Yelena Ostapenko and Yulia Putintseva square off in a battle of the big personalities. And lastly, Danielle Collins meets Slam champion Barbora Krejcikova. The 2 court 2 matches then are 25th seed Lorenzo Musetti, who faces the 6'8" big serving Giovanni Impecci Petticard, followed by Elena Svitolina, who faces the unseeded Xinyu Wang. That's all for my Day 7 Wimbledon recap, and let me know y'all's thoughts on all that crazy action we saw today. Who was y'all's pick to make the ladies final in this wide open bottom half? Make sure y'all subscribe again and click the notification bell so you're notified whenever I post my Day 8 recap. Thank y'all so much for your support. I'll see y'all next time, Christian's Crew on Christian's Court.